It's time for kickoff.
Hey, before we start, I can't wait.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. First afternoon edition of Concrete Jungle, New York baseball podcast here, coming to you guys live from the Finger Lakes 1.com studios, North Park Building, 3rd floor, Stanton Falls, New York. I'm Paul Russo. Over to my right's Kyle Evans. Man behind the scenes, shifting all the cameras and working all the pulleys and levers is Nate Sharman. So look, I'm just going to be honest with you. This is going to be a fun episode for me. I was at Watkins Glen all weekend. I didn't pretty much walk a lick of baseball, but luckily for us, Kyle Evans was suffering through a lot of pain.
Oh yeah, watching them all through tough times.
Mm-hmm. Nate, did you watch any baseball over the week? I know you you had a little bit of an issue yesterday morning, but
Yeah, we had a fun issue at the house, but no, not a lot of baseball watching for me this morning or this weekend. Excuse me. We'll have a good, good aptly named title today about
Yes.
Kyle, and so we'll see what Kyle has to say about the aforementioned New York Yankees.
Kyle's pretty much leading the blind right now, with me being the blind. So, well, we're gonna have to fight through some adversity here, and cut through. The Yankees dropping another series, the Mets taking another series. Exciting stuff, even though records may not indicate it from last week with Rochester and Syracuse. But, obviously that's stuff to be discussed later on in the pod. So we'll jump right in with the Yankees. 4 games with Toronto. They dropped the series 3-1. Don't quote me on the exact number, but the 6th straight series loss is a number that hasn't been reached in 30-something years, I believe I saw.
I believe it was 90, 97, 96.
Oh, okay. So not quite 30 years, but, that's certainly a number that the Yankees haven't seen in quite some time anyway.
Former intern Caleb, if you're in the chat, let us know. Let him run a victory rap.
Stat boy. You can also be our stat boy from afar. Yeah, we'll jump right in. Thursday night, the first game of the series was a 9-2 Toronto victory. Jose Barrios picked up the win, 9-5, a 5.39 ERA on the year now for him. Frankie Montas, the loss, moves a 4-10, a 3.87 ERA. Oswaldo Cabrera, 2 for 4, picked up a double in there. Anthony Rizzo, 2 for 3, a double and a walk. And DJ LeMahieu went 2 for 5.
We have a Caleb sighting. Go Jays out of Caleb.
Oh, all right. So shout out
We
to
do
Caleb
have him with
then.
him. Hope everything's going well at Penn State, Caleb.
Yes. But look, I mean, simply put, against a pitcher who has admittedly had many struggles this year keeping runners off base and keeping the runs to a minimum, the Yankees just did not take advantage of it.
Yeah, just a mess. It's I don't even know what to say anymore. It's the same thing over and over again. Nothing's changing with the offense. Guys are taking pitches down the middle. Guys are just having bad at bats. And I like what Aaron Judge said. He said that guys are having individual at bats. They're not having team at bats. And there's not a lot of energy in the dugout. And there seems to be several different issues for this 2-month stretch of bad baseball. And it's just going to continue as you kind of mentioned the recaps. Like, nothing changes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to me, the quote, because to me anyway, and I think maybe we can kind of more take a deep dive at this here in a couple minutes after we get through the series. The idea of individual bats versus team at bats, I mean, it's inherently tough in baseball, I suppose, having that be. I don't know what the proper term is, because baseball is such an inherently individual team sport in nature that I think it's hard to kind of separate the two every now and then. I think I know what he means at the core of it. I don't know if he worded it right, and that's okay. I mean, we everybody goes through life not wording things the right way, but it's a tough spot. I think a lot. I think maybe at the root of it, he's maybe more or less saying that whatever's been going on, the camaraderie / chemistry that this team had moving through the first really half of the year. They need to get back to it somehow.
Yeah. I kind of think what he means is like guys are like always going up there trying to hit a homer or whatever when they should, work as a team and just try to get on base, let the next guy, do their thing. And instead, they're trying to just go up there and just destroy the ball every pitch. They're not trying to get runners on. They're not trying to move runners. It's just like the baseball that they're playing now was nothing like they played in the first, 3-4 months.
Right. Yeah, I know that's something that I've even have like in my coaching experience have kind of taught, or not really guys taught, but more or less tell guys is right. Is there's so much focus on, you mentioned maybe going yard or even just the simple things like I want to slash it down right field line more often. But one thing that I always say is, and maybe like you said, maybe this is really what Judge meant is, just swing the bat and let the ball do the rest. I mean, that's kind of my main thing, right? Is I could care less about sometimes about higher stances and everything else like that. Your end goal at the end of the day should just be making contact, let the ball do the rest. I mean, if you square it up and it's a line drive just right to the center fielder, but you've hit it about as hard and perfect as you can, I mean, that's baseball sometimes. Things happen, right? I agree with you there where it's, I think the aspect and the idea of going long, going for the fence is not working out well for the Yankees, if that is the case. I think maybe later in games that is. I don't know if necessarily that's the case at the beginning of the game. I think beginning of the games, they're still having really good at bats. I mean, working counts deep, it seems like, or at least attempting to, when the opportunities present themselves. And then later in the game, I don't know if they just kind of flip a switch, if that's something that, the coaching staff has kind of told them to do or what the case may be.
Yeah, and it's so weird because normally an entire lineup doesn't struggle at the same time. Sometimes, the top of the order might struggle and the bottom of the order picks it up. But that's just hasn't been the case lately. It seems like the entire lineup is struggling. I mean, even Judge, like, yeah, he hasn't homered in 9 games. That's not a big deal because you don't need a homer every time. But he's like in a 2 for 24 slump. I mean, that's going to happen. But other guys aren't picking it up. Andrew Benintendi's been getting going a little bit. Jose Trevino's hitting when he does play. But, like, overall, guys are just struggling like crazy up and down the lineup. Gleyber Torres, 12 for his last 72. I mean, how is it even possible? Donaldson, another slump. It's just like there's nothing good happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if maybe – I don't know if I'd go as deep as they say there's nothing good happening. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead. But, I mean, Oswaldo Cabrera certainly has made his impact, I'd say, known pretty quick here in the past few days. I think there's positives to draw from that. Albeit, again, this is jumping ahead to yesterday's game. It's good to see that at least, players do have other players' backs when certain things happen. But I do agree, at least at the core of the issue, right, is something mentality-wise here has to change. I think the idea that, maybe not everything is going good or is going bad / I don't know if that's necessarily the case, right? I mean, like I said, I think there's a lot of still good things kind of happening if you look deep enough.
Just more on the pitching side.
Right,
though.
right. Yeah, I do agree with you there. So Friday night, I mean, to me, this is maybe a pitching good spot again. Just couldn't quite, the offense just didn't do anything. 4-0 Toronto victory. Kevin Gausman picked up the win, 9-9, a 2.99 ERA for him on the year now. And Jameson Tyone, 11-4, a 4 flat ERA for him. Tyone went 5 innings, 6-6, 3 earned and 5 Ks. Anthony Rizzo and Oswaldo Cabrera, again, each pitch in for a hit. Other than that, I mean, those were really only the 2 bright spot offensively stuff going on. And then, again, you have Tyone who, obviously maybe not as deep in the game as you like, but kept you in the game the whole time once again. Just tough going uphill when you have no run support behind you.
Yeah, and that's now back-to-back starts with no run support. So imagine how that's weighing on him and, what's he going to think his next outing? Like, oh, here we go again. I'm not going to get run support. That can affect a pitcher, and, you don't want that to happen, especially with him, because a lot of times he keeps the team in the game. He's kind of like Montgomery used to be. He might not have his best stuff or might not be the best pitcher in the rotation, but usually the Yankees are always in the game.
For sure. Saturday, a 5-2 Toronto victory. Adam Simber picked up the win out of the bullpen. 9-4, 2.98 ERA for him out of the pen now. Garrett Cole would take the loss, 9-6, a 3.41 ERA, and Yimi Garcia picked up his first save on the year, going in spot of Jordan Romano. Cole went 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned, 5 Ks. Not not exactly the best performance out of Cole ever, but again, more than enough to keep you in the game and hopefully, show some life to a degree. Certainly tried Gleyber Torres, 1 for 4 with a solo home run, and Aaron Judge went 2 for 4 with a stolen base. It's been interesting what they've been kind of doing with Gleyber a little bit, not to look too far ahead. We've seen him in the cleanup spot. We've seen him lead off, kind of been everywhere in the order a little bit. It's more or less experimenting at this point, I'd imagine, more than anything else, is to try and spark something within this lineup.
Yeah, he's a guy that thinks he has to homer every at bat, and that's what's so frustrating. He's missing fastballs on the middle because he's not just trying to hit for contact. And I don't know why he doesn't understand that you don't need to hit homers every at bat. Yes, I know he had power his 2018 season, rookie season, but I mean, he just isn't the same player anymore. He just needs to get on base. That's what guys need to start focusing on. Hitting coaches need to have meetings with these guys and just say, just get on base. Stuff will happen if you get on base. The thing is, they're not even getting on base, so nothing really will happen. I mean, the Friday game, they had 4 hits. How are you going to score? And as for Cole, again, 1 bad inning. It seems like this is kind of, when he does struggle, this is an issue. He has 1 bad inning. It was the 4th inning when he gave up all 4 runs, and that was really the difference because at that point, the Yankees don't have the offense anymore to come back.
Right. And, look, I mean, they did show up pretty much offensively to a degree on Saturday. I mean, they chased Mitch White out of the game, and after the 4th inning, he gave up 7 hits in 4 innings, which, if you're the Yankees, I mean, you gotta push someone across there with a guy like Mitch White. He's good, don't get me wrong, good, but he's young enough that, you push him into a corner, he might give up something, and the only thing he did give up was the Gleyber home run.
And how about this? Gleyber Torres and Aaron Hicks tied for the league lead in grounding into double plays. That's a major concern.
Yeah. And Hicksy had a bit of a moment anyway over the weekend with ball hitting the top of the fence at one point there, which that's not so much on him, right? I mean, it's more or less, looking at things in a weird light and how baseball can find you at, moments of doubt or moments of, self-doubt, and he was pretty upset with himself for really no reason. I mean, there's not much he could have done other than really try and throw the ball back and play, but at that point, things could happen to such a degree that whatever, but it was, to me, it was sad kind of seeing him mad at himself over something that was really just completely out of his control.
Yeah, and the fact that he's been, as you would say, in the doghouse, 4 straight games on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of deserved it, going 5 for 52.
Yeah.
I think we're going to not see him as much going forward, especially because Oswaldo Cabrera can play the outfield and has done a really good job. So I think fans are going to finally be getting what they want, not seeing Hicks very much for the rest of the year.
And to that end, I mean, Florial did kind of bust out a little bit towards the end of this Toronto series as well.
Yeah.
To kind of
first hit, first RBI, so hopefully he gets going.
Yeah. Yesterday, Sunday, obviously a 4-2 Yankee victory. Lou Trevino picked up the win out of the bullpen, going now 2-7 on the year, 5.27 ERA for him. Adam Simber the loss, 9-5, a 3.27 ERA. Trevino came in more or less to grab the hold and keep the lead at that point, or rather game tied after Wandy Peralta walked in a run. Nestor Cortez, really good outing once again. No decision, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, an earned run and 5 Ks. So before we jump into the offense, kudos once again to Nestor Cortez for really coming out of that slide that he had pretty strong again here over the course of really his past 4 starts again.
Yeah, and that's what some of the pitchers need to look at that are struggling right now. Look at what Nestor Cortez did. He struggled for 2 or 3 starts. Obviously, he worked with Matt Blake. There's no doubt about that because his stuff has been way better. And as for Lou Trevino, shout out to him. He actually recorded the final 7 outs of the game with the bullpen kind of short. Scott F. Ross, I think you're going to mention later, is dealing with an injury. So, just a great job by Trevino.
Yeah, I know I didn't put in our news and notes, but it is going to be a talking point here once we get through this game anyway about that. Andrew Benintendi, first home run as a Yankee, goes 2 for 3. 2-run home run, obviously, a double, a walk, 2 runs for him. And then DJ LeMahieu, 2 for 4. Had rather one of the more interesting RBIs you may see in all of baseball occur in the first inning. But that's baseball sometimes, I suppose. And good to see DJ kind of have himself a pretty decent series overall, all things considered.
Yeah, it was a good way to salvage the final game, but as we know with the Donaldson's walk-off grand slam in the middle of the week, I mean, didn't really seem to spark the team a whole lot, so I don't really know what you can take away from this win.
No,
But obviously a win's a win, and you needed it.
I think what I can take away with this win anyway was actually the Benintendi home run. I think it's a little bit different when it's a walk-off compared to a go-ahead home run. Obviously, the celebrations are a little bit different, but seeing Benintendi kind of really break out into a smile and the team kind of embrace him, that was, to me, that's a little bit different scenario than what was with Donaldson. I think, maybe this kind of helps, Benintendi as well kind of break out a little bit, kind of, break the shell, break a little bit of that maybe self-doubt he's had. I mean, now he's above the Mendoza line in pinstripes anyway, batting-wise. So hopefully this is really the really start for him here in New York.
Yeah, the problem is it doesn't get any easier with, tonight and tomorrow against the Mets and going on a long West Coast trip. So I don't really know what we can take away from the win. I guess we'll have to just kind of wait and see. Hopefully it's the right, path that they're going to go back on, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
Brought up Scott Efros, obviously. They are not going to put him on the injured list, at least not yet, but he is dealing with right shoulder. They're calling it stiffness.
I feel like this is just my prediction.
Yeah.
I just feel like no matter, even if it's not as bad as I think he's going to go on the injured list today, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I do find it interesting that they haven't yet. There's a couple interesting notes to kind of piece in here potentially when we get into the news and notes, but I hear a guy with right shoulder stiffness. My mind goes a couple different ways. Obviously, it could just be something basic, right? Just more or less wear and tear. Might just kind of be tight and locking up on him a little bit.
And if I remember right, he didn't throw a lot of innings last year,
Right.
so maybe he's throwing more innings this year, so it's starting to catch up to him.
Right. Yeah, that could be it. Or we could go to the extreme route, which is a rotator cuff issue, which is obviously something that you definitely don't want. Obviously, rotator cuffs are kind of in a way now the new UCL long-term injury-wise, the way kind of Tommy John surgeries have kind of come along now, and rotator cuffs have kind of, I wouldn't say gone on the back burner, but when you hear the injuries now, a lot of times when you hear rotator cuff, they kind of lend themselves to be potentially more long-term than Tommy John now.
Yeah, and I think if he does land on the injured list, the next guy up would be Clark Schmidt, even though the Yankees have said they want him as a starter, but I mean, isn't that your best option right now?
Well, I think it kind of let it lend its hand. Not to fully jump ahead here, but you look at the news and notes, right? I mean, they recalling Luke Bard up from Scranton Wilkes-Barre over the weekend as the corresponding move with Albert Abreu going on the injured list.
I really don't know who next.
Yeah, what that tells me is probably you're right. I mean, they probably want to keep him stretched out as a starter at Scranton at this point.
Just the problem is you don't really have an option now with all these injuries. I mean, who are you going to bring up? So I think he would be the guy. I mean, Jack Curry kind of mentioned that a little bit too on the post-game show. I know he has a lot of ties within the organization, so I don't know, what they're going to do, but if I had to guess, that would be my prediction.
Yeah, I'm guessing, I mean, just a brief look at the Scranton roster. I would assume what's interesting is they did call up Danny Salazar from Somerset over the weekend.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I would borderline venture a guess that either they'd probably re-sign Ryan Weber to a major league deal and bring him up, or I mean, do they go with a guy who's been sneaky good in the bullpen, who has been Scranton's de facto closer, who I don't think many Yankee fans know, and Greg Wessert?
Yeah, I have heard his name a lot too. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
I mean, other than that, their options could be a guy. I mean, Richard Rodriguez is at Scranton now officially. Tyler Lyons, but he's on the restricted list. Shane Green, Zach Green. you have a couple different options there that you could go with, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what options they really would for sure go with. I would imagine my guess would be Ryan Weber, but I don't want to speculate too much. So, all right, let's jump in fully to the news and notes. Obviously, I mentioned Albert Abreu. He's dealing with right elbow inflammation. Obviously, not ideal. That could lend itself to potentially a more serious injury with his UCL. So they will take the precautionary route with him. Has been up and down with the Yankees in his return, but had certainly seemed to kind of buoy himself out here recently. So it is certainly kind of a bit of a shame to see him go on the IL.
Yeah, he has been struggling, and I think that's why the Rangers DFA'd him. His control is not very good. Throws hard, has the stuff, just doesn't really locate it, and it's been an issue lately, giving up some home runs and some runs over his last few appearances.
Carlos Stanton had a rehab assignment over the weekend with AA Somerset. Was used as a DH Saturday and Sunday. And could be part of a group of hitters to face, and we'll tie this in a nice seamless mention. Right-hand pitcher Luis Severino. Severino is scheduled to pitch a live batting practice tomorrow to a group of hitters that could also potentially include Stanton, depending upon how everything kind of shakes out today. Kind of sounds like from Boone that the case would be that Stanton would be in that group, though. More good news on the bullpen front. Zach Britton threw a bullpen session on Saturday, and Miguel Castro has resumed throwing from 90 feet. So certainly bullpen reinforcements are on the horizon for the Yankees.
Yeah, they could really use Castro right now. And as for Severino, it's going to be nice to get him back. I think when he comes back, Herman goes to the bullpen.
Right.
So that's another arm out there that would be effective.
Stanton went 0 for 7 in his 2 appearances, so I'd say he's ready for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
I'm not surprised.
I saw Kyle liked someone that said that so on Twitter the
Kyle.
other day. So it popped up on my Twitter line, and I got a good chuckle out of it. Sorry.
I mean, it's obvious that there's just timing's not ready yet, but I mean,
I know. I'm just poking fun.
You guys are the worst. Anyway,
rehab stats don't matter.
we'll go to the Mets now. We obviously this is where we preview the series, but we have the Subway Series going on for the next 2 days. So we'll move on to the Mets. They finished up Thursday with one more game in Atlanta. They dropped 3-2. Max Fried picks up the win there, 11-4, a 2.60 ERA. Jacob deGrom, the loss, 2-1, a 2.31 ERA. Kenley Jansen picked up the save for Atlanta, his 28th. DeGrom, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned, and 9 strikeouts. Mark Cannon went 2 for 3 with a home run, a double, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. And then James McCann, 1 for 3 with the double. So,
Remember what I said?
Mhm.
I said that I thought the Mets were going to split with the Braves, and I thought the final game they were going to lose because DeGrom wouldn't get any run support. And
you were pretty
second,
much
second
spot on.
time in his last 4 starts that not a lot of run support.
Spot on. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Let's get into the main part of the action, though, for the Mets. A big 4-game series in 3 days against the Phillies in Philly. Mets took the opening game 7-2 on Friday night. Chris Bassett the win, 11-7, a 3.26 ERA for him. Aaron Nola took the loss, 8-10, a 3.25 ERA. The Mets have absolutely just destroyed Nola so far this year.
And Wheeler, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's big. I think it's bigger than people probably realize, right? In case these two do end up matched up in the playoffs against each other, the fact that the 2 frontline starters for the Phillies have gotten, frankly, the doors blown off of them by the Mets every time out, it's a good sign.
Yeah, their offenses just went off on both of them. Yeah. It's concerning if you're a Phillies fan,
right?
Because they're beating up on other teams, and then when they play the Mets, it's totally different.
Luckily for us, this isn't a podcast of brotherly love, so you're welcome. I'll be here all week. Chris Bassett, 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 earned, and 4 strikeouts. Pete Alonso went 2 for 5, a home run, a double, 3 RBIs, and a run scored. And then Starling Marte, he had a Marte parte pretty much all weekend, 2 for 5 with 2 doubles, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. Saturday, game 1, 105 first pitch. An 8-2 Met victory there. Seth Lugo picked up the win out of the bullpen, 3-2, a 3.38 ERA. Zach Wheeler the loss, 11-7, a 3.07 ERA. Marte, 3 for 4, a walk, an RBI, and a run scored. Brandon Nimmo went 2 for 4 with 2 doubles, a walk, an RBI, and a run. Then Jeff McNeil, 3 for 5, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Obviously, offense really showed out the first 2 games of this series and kept, really the pitching kept Philadelphia well beyond arm's length for the first 2.
Yeah, based on those first 2 games, I thought there was a good chance that the Mets could even sweep the series. But I know doubleheaders are tough. But yeah, a guy that's really impressed me all year, because I wasn't really a big fan of him before the season, Jeff McNeil.
How dare you?
I feel like that guy he's so underrated.
He's the everyman.
Every time I look up on the screen, he's getting a hit. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been very impressed with him. I think he's very underrated, and I think people need to start noticing and realize that he's a really good player.
Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned right, doubleheaders are hard. That was the case as the Mets dropped the nightcap on the doubleheader 4-1. Bailey Falter picked up the win, his first on the year, 1-3, a 4.40 ERA for him. David Peterson moves to 6-3 with the loss, going with an ERA of 3.44 now. David Robertson collected his 17th save on the year. Peterson, 4 2/3, 8 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 6 Ks. To me, above and beyond, once again, what he needed to do, just doubleheaders being doubleheader. The offense couldn't quite help him out along the way. McNeil, 1 for 4 with a double, and then Francisco Lindor went 1 for 4 with a run scored. So stuff happened. I mean, I know they used the bullpen a ton on Saturday. After the fact, kind of dictated a little bit what happened on Sunday. But just if there was ever a game where the offenses couldn't show up for one time, obviously a doubleheader's tough one to do where both games they have to show up.
Yeah, they had just 2 hits, so I guess they used them all up in game 1, unfortunately. But, I mean, Sunday, way different story.
Yeah, Sunday was a 10-9 Met victory. Trevor May picks up the win out of the bullpen, 2-0, a 7.04 ERA for him. David Robertson, the loss, 3-1, a 2.20 ERA. And Edwin Diaz, his 28th save. A little bit of a note, though, gave up his first run in, 2 months, I think it was. There was a no harm, no foul type run. I mean, he sacrificed fly. Nothing you can do sometimes about that. It is what it is.
It's a good thing they had a 2-run lead at that point.
Marte, 3 for 5, double RBI and a run scored with a stolen base again. Mark Canha absolutely went off, 3 for 5, 2 home runs, 5 RBI stolen, 2 runs scored, including the go-ahead 2-run home run in the 9th, featuring a bat flip that went straight to the friggin' moon.
Yeah, that was I feel like a lot of people didn't really understand that signing in the offseason, but that was a really good addition for them. That guy has stepped up and came up big several times, and yesterday's go-ahead 2-run home run was just huge.
And then your guy, Kyle, Jeff McNeil, 3 for 5 with 2 doubles again and a run scored.
Yeah, it's every game. At least 2 or 3 hits, it seems like.
He was the other man on base when the Mark Canha home run happened. So big series take for the Mets. Can't go unsaid. They officially get out of this 16 games in 18 days against the Phillies and Braves, pretty much coming out on top. I know distance-wise, it may not seem like a lot of ground was gained over the teams either. But that being said, they were able to extend that division lead out a couple more games, and to me, really just assert the dominance within that division once again.
Yeah, and the Braves have been playing just so well. If it wasn't for them having this really hot stretch, it would be more than 4 games based on how they played head-to-head. The Mets obviously lead the series head-to-head. I think they meet again, if I'm not mistaken, later this month in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I think that's 4 games again. So that's going to be a big series. And I think Atlanta's got to cool off, right, a little bit like the Mets did at some point, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I just, for me, their pitching, I'm not too sure at what point the levee breaks a little bit for them.
And Austin Riley having the type of year he's having, it's just.
Well, for me, it's not going to be a matter of the offense. I think that offense is still as good, maybe if not just a hair better than last year with the World Series win. But that being said, it doesn't matter much if the pitching is just not there, which it hasn't been. You don't trade away one of your premier bullpen arms for a pretty much middle-of-the-road starter if you weren't worried about that rotation to some end, like they did trading away Will Smith for Jake Odorizzi.
Yeah. I still think Atlanta's going to be there at the end, but it's something to keep an eye on. I think they have to cool off at some point.
Right. Agreed. All right. For as much positives as the Mets have had, a lot of news and notes kind of over the weekend with them. So a brief update on Tomas Nido, backup catcher. He could return really as soon as today, but that probably won't happen. The Mets plan on probably holding him out until Thursday. before activating from the COVID-19 injured list. Right-hand pitcher Steven Nogasek was placed on the injured list with a left oblique strain. Again, another left oblique strain for the Mets. Tally that one up on the scoreboard. Right-hand pitcher Tommy Hunter had joined the team in Philadelphia and is close to returning after rehabbing with Binghamton. Right-hand pitcher Taijuan Walker, he could start tomorrow against the Yankees or at some point in the series against the Rockies. More likely it'd be opening game on Thursday. More on that in just a few minutes. Second baseman Yolmer Sanchez was claimed off waivers and has been activated already. Pretty much replaces kind of the role that Kramer Robertson had on the team. Catcher Patrick Mazzicco had been designated for assignment, since been learned that the Met legend has been claimed by the San Francisco Giants. So no more Patrick Mazzicco in the Met pinstripes. Outfielder Nick Plummer was outrighted to AAA Syracuse. Third baseman Devin Marrero was designated for assignment and has since been outrighted to AAA Syracuse. Left-hand pitcher Rob Zatrani was selected from and then has since been subsequently optioned back to AAA Syracuse. Left-hand pitcher Sam Clay was optioned to AAA Syracuse and has since been designated for assignment. I believe right before we went live, he was outrighted to Syracuse at that point. Right-hand pitcher R.J. Alvarez was outrighted to AAA Syracuse. Left-hand pitcher David Peterson obviously was recalled and has since been returned to AAA Syracuse. Left-hand pitcher Nate Fisher was selected from AAA Syracuse. Right-hand pitcher Jose Buto was recalled from AAA Syracuse. And lastly, left-hand pitcher Joey Lucchesi was sent on a rehab assignment to Single-A St. Lucie.
Jeez, a lot of moves there. But I mean, you can't really, you can't not expect that because of the doubleheader, but a lot of moves up and down between both games.
Yeah, so certainly interesting to see. Yolmer Sanchez, I think some people probably remember him more from his White Sox days. A really good utility guy, kind of can play multiple different positions. I know second base is kind of where he settled into actually with Boston within their system the past year. But it'd be interesting to kind of see what the Mets got to do with him. Obviously, they're trying to figure out the third base situation here still with Eduardo Escobar being out, as well as Luis Guillorme out. So probably see some time over at third, I'm assuming.
My takeaway from all these moves is if you look, it's a lot of bullpen moves.
Yep.
I'm really wondering why the Mets didn't make more moves at the deadline, especially for a reliever or two. Yeah. It seems like that should have been the main focus.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, they don't trust the arms they have. I mean, the guys are up and down all the time. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, we brought that up, too, at the time. I mean, the only deadline move that they made bullpen-wise was for Michael Givens. And he's been really good for him. Don't get us wrong, but I do agree with you. I think kind of like the Yankees. I don't know, they only really made one move for a bullpen arm, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, obviously we alluded to it. The Yankees and Mets meet in Bronx for a 2-game set of the Subway Series tonight and tomorrow night on Tuesday. Tonight, a 7:05 first pitch. You can catch it on your local Picks affiliate or on the Yes Network. Max Scherzer goes for the Mets, 9-2, a 2.15 ERA against Domingo Germán, 1-2, a 4.45 ERA there. Tomorrow night on Tuesday, a 7:05 first pitch, a plethora of different options for you to watch. The official channel of Kyle Evans' viewing experience, Amazon Prime Video.
Tuesday night, get out of here.
SNY or TBS. The Mets are TBA. This could be one of two options. Obviously, the aforementioned to degree Taijuan Walker or Jacob deGrom. It all depends how Walker is feeling today. Who, no matter what, they'll be facing Frankie Montas, 4-10, a 3.87 ERA for the Yankees.
Just a warning for the people that are expecting to turn on TBS. It'll be blacked out if you're in the New York area. I mean, a lot of people tried to do it last week when they're on TBS, and if you're in New York, it's gonna be blacked out. So there you go, making your money on Amazon Prime.
At least we'll be blessed with Gary, Keith, and Ron then. At the very least. So, what are you gonna do?
Yep. I'll be watching on SNY Tuesday night after golf league down in the Dungeon Lounge.
Dungeon.
Watching the Mets finish off a 2-game sweep.
So yeah, that's actually what I was going to say. I do believe the Mets actually take both games.
Oh, I know. I mean,
honest.
it's not even not shocking anymore.
So, yeah.
I'll be watching tonight too. I love watching Scherzer pitch.
Mad Max.
He's fun.
Gets you going.
He's just so dominant when he's on, especially too.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Mad Max.
Mad Max, baby. All right, let's move on to our friends in the minor league systems, the Rochester Red Wings and Syracuse Mets. Look, Rochester splits their series collectively overall on the week with Worcester, but did take 2 of 3 over the weekend, Friday through Sunday. Start Thursday, obviously, a 9-8 Worcester victory. Frank Germain picked up the win for the Hoosocks, and Mason Thompson took the loss for Rochester. Jacob Lou went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run scored. Nicky Banks went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. And then Sanchez went 2 for 4 with 2 doubles and an RBI and a run scored. It was good to see the bats collectively for Rochester. You'll pick up on that. Obviously, Friday, not so much the case, a 9-3 loss. But that being said, Josh Palacios went 2 for 4 that day with a double, walk, and a run scored. John Nagowski went 2 for 3 with a double, 2 RBIs, and a stolen bag. Andrew Stevenson 1 for 4. Saturday was a final after 7. They got rained on and had to call it after 7. 5-1 victory. Kate Cavalli picked up the win, went 5 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. So really, again, a good outing for Kate Cavalli. Andrew Stevenson went 2 for 4 with a triple, 2 RBIs, and a stolen bag. And Nicky, 2 bags, went 3 for 3 with an RBI on Sunday. 3-2 Rochester victory. Daniel Ponce de Leon picked up his first win with Rochester. And Jordan Weems picked up the save, his 14th of the year. Ponce de Leon went 5 innings of no-hit ball, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Jake Alou went 2 for 4. And Andrew Stevenson did all the heavy lifting, went 1 for 4 with a 3-run home run to bring everything home. Just a couple news and notes for Rochester. Jake Knoll was placed on the 60-day injured list, and Palacios, after the game on Friday, was recalled by Washington. So good to see Rochester really kind of bounce back a little bit. But they were all in. They were in each game pretty much outside of Friday a little bit, but collectively, really good baseball being played by the Red Wings against the Hoosocks all week.
Again, it just makes me think, like, how the heck did they lose 19 in a row?
Yeah.
Like, if they didn't, even if they lost 10 in a row, they wouldn't be. They'd probably still be, fighting for a playoff spot. But at this point, I mean, I kind of think there's no real shot of them, even if they were to rip off 12 wins in a row. I think teams are still going to be in front of them, are still going to be winning. So It's going to be hard to do.
Rochester will be in Indianapolis all week, the AAA affiliate of Nate's Fighting Pittsburgh Pirates, before returning home next week to take on Toledo. So look forward to that. Syracuse Mets, they did not take the series against Charlotte. That being said, again, they were in every single game.
And high scoring
affairs outside of Saturday, but yeah, I mean, they did all they could do. Mike Montgomery picked up the win on Thursday, which was an 11-10 Syracuse Met victory. Dom Smith 3 for 4 with the home run, 4 RBIs, a walk, and 2 runs. Mark Vantos went 3 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBIs. Palka 3 for 4, a home run and 3 RBIs there. Friday was a 12-11 loss for Syracuse. JT Riddle went 3 for 5, a double, home run. 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Dom Smith 2 for 4, double, RBI, a walk, and 2 runs. And Palka again went 2 for 4 with an RBI, a walk, and a run. This was really the closest game in terms of low-scoring affairs all weekend for the S-Mets, a 4-3 loss to Charlotte. Jose Rodriguez got the start, no decision, 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, none of which were earned, and 3 walks. Mark Vantos again, 2 for 5, a double, home run, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. And Travis Jankowski went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a walk. Sunday, a 10-8 loss for Syracuse. Mark Vientos again, 4 for 5, a double, RBI and a run scored. Daniel Palka went 2 for 4, a home run, 4 total RBIs. And Gasuki Kato coming back here strong, 2 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBIs and a run scored. So good to see the offense really firing on all cylinders for the Mets. The pitching certainly had different moments throughout the series, but positives, it's what we've been talking about all year. At least this lineup has shown that it has the potential to do things.
Yeah, and if they've actually led, and I think in a few of these games late, and just the bullpen kind of gave it up. But it's really good to see that they're fighting. Even with their record, they're still in all the games. They're trying to win games. I think that's the best part about this stretch.
Yeah. A couple of news and notes for them. Right-hand pitcher Harold Gonzalez and catcher Jose Colino were assigned to Syracuse from AA Binghamton, and catcher Juan Loyo was assigned to Syracuse from Single-A Brooklyn. The S-Mets, they're home this week against the Hoosocks. Thursday is a dollar day, women in sports day, and starting that day, salt potato takeover. There will be the Syracuse salt potatoes starting Thursday on through. Friday is a team photo giveaway and fireworks. Saturday is a salt potato jersey giveaway, and Sunday is tater tot bobblehead giveaway.
Look at those promo nights.
Yeah, so a lot to
A
get
lot to do with food. That's right straight to my heart, Paul. The
Yes.
next 3 days, Taco Tuesday, all you can eat Wednesday, $1 Thursday. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, a lot to get to. I know we're going to be trying and get to Syracuse on Thursday for Dollar Day. Looking forward to that potentially, and obviously we'll be back on air for that. So get out. I know weather might be a little bit hit and miss this week, but plenty of opportunity to go see some baseball in Syracuse this week with Rochester on the road.
Yeah, we have been lucky though. I mean, not a lot of rain during the summer,
Right.
so I think we're gonna kind of pay for it late this month.
Hopefully not overall. All right, that wraps up Concrete Jungle for today. If you guys haven't already, like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff to help us out. Anything fun going on in the middle of the week for anybody? I think it's pretty quiet this week, honestly, around here.
Yeah, pretty quiet.
Nothing wrong with that every now and then, that's for sure. All right, so Concrete Jungle, appreciate everybody for tuning in. For Kyle Evans, our master producer extraordinary, Nate Shireman, I'm Paul Russo. Watch us live here on YouTube. Be back at normal time, 11 a.m. on Thursday. Watch there, catch up anytime there. Same with Anchor, Spotify, and all other major podcasting platforms. We'll talk to everybody Thursday. See ya.